So now what do we do?
We review. Hey, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Eddie.
And we're here to review the new 2015 disaster flick, San Andreas. So Eddie, what did you think of going into this movie?
Well, going into the movie, I had high expectations when it comes to the action and the visual part, or the aspect of this movie. I had low expectations when it comes to acting, just because The Rock isn't really known for his superb acting skills. But I thought that he did a really good job in this role.
Right. I didn't really know what I thought going into this movie. I thought it could either be really bad or it could be really good. It just looked like one of those movies where it had the potential with the action and the visuals, but was probably going to fall pretty hard in terms of the acting and the script. But I was really surprised to say that most of the acting was better than I thought it was going to be.
I agree.
Especially from Paul Giamatti and, of course, The Rock. Even though he isn't the most skilled actor, he's very charismatic, and I thought that really carried the movie. So let's go ahead and jump into the major pros of this. So this movie had a lot of tension throughout. It
was very suspenseful, and it had you on the edge of, excuse me, it had you on the edge of your seat for, I'd say, like 90% of the movie. I thought they did a really good job at adding the tension effect to this.
I definitely agree. Now, unlike most disaster flicks, this movie goes off immediately. Takes no time. You have your first big incident like in the first 10 minutes of the movie, and then it just doesn't let up pretty much for the entire runtime, which is really good. And of course, when you have all this destruction and everything going on, it's all great, but occasionally you have romances in these disaster flicks just to keep the variety somewhat interesting, and I thought it was functional in this.
I agree. I thought that the way that they worked it into everything happening, I thought it added a real tie to the characters, like a reason for them to do what they did rather than just doing it for the script, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely didn't think that it was as bad as something like 2012 or Armageddon, where it was really sappy and I just didn't care too much. This, just felt realistic, like these were actually people and they weren't very scripted. And like we said before, the visuals and the audio in this movie are superb.
They were incredible. We actually were able to see it in IMAX 3D, and hearing it start from the front of the screen or the front of the theater and move to the back of it and then it keep rolling, they did a really good job of it. It was spectacular.
Now, of course, not all the acting was great, but I really want to give a strong shout out to Paul Giamatti and The Rock. Now, Paul Giamatti plays a scientist in this movie, and he had a lot of depth to his characters, surprisingly.
I thought so. Yeah, I agree.
Of course, Paul Giamatti's acting skills outweigh pretty much any other actor in this movie. The Rock also did a very good job. He has this very good on-screen presence, and he's just a likable guy. He's like Keanu Reeves. He's not necessarily the best actor, but you just can't stand to like him. He does some of his own stunts, and he just has a lot of fun doing what he does, and he's passionate about it, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Now, even though San Andreas has a lot of great things going for it, it does have quite a few drawbacks. Number one being logic.
Yeah, I thought that there were a few scenes and a few action sequences that finished up, and you went, that's kind of insane.
Right, like I was thinking about the scene involving a tsunami, and I was like, maybe no.
Maybe that wouldn't happen in real life.
Also, people are alive in this movie when they should definitely be dead.
Oh my! And
all the time.
Even if they were to survive, they'd be in
like crippled.
Like limbs would be falling off.
Like for example, there's a car incident in this movie, and this chick literally falls off a cliff and nosedives into the ground with her vehicle. Now, the steering wheel should have crushed her chest on impact. Easily. But, of course, nothing happened. She's like, oh, I have a little cut on my head.
Yeah.
I'm good.
She walked away with it with a bruised hand and a cut over her eyebrow.
Now, we mentioned that this movie had a lot of tension throughout it, pretty much throughout the entire runtime. However, for the last 20 minutes, I felt a lack of that. Like, it just loosened up.
I agree. I thought it went from all this tension, all this suspense, all this edge of your seat kind of waiting for the next scene to, oh, well, you kind of saw that coming, and they could have built that up a little bit better than they actually did.
Yeah, I thought the ending was a little anticlimactic, and I was expecting something that just went off with a bang, so to speak. And that's why I said other disaster movies like 2012 and Armageddon, they do kind of have these ultimate things that really hit it at the end.
This real climax.
And this movie didn't really hit that. So, this movie had a really cliche ending.
I agree.
It was pretty much just daughter, son, and father looking over the horizon saying, what do we do now? And of course, you have someone walk up like, we need to rebuild. And we're like, oh.
And then it pans out to see all the destruction and all the rescue teams and all the good stuff that comes along with the let's rebuild line.
Right. Now, also, besides the main actors in the movie, there were a lot of shaky performances.
I agree. Some of the side roles, although they were side roles, you got the feeling that they almost settled for some of these actors. And I say that because the performances that they gave were very subpar, especially for a movie of this scale.
Right, I'd say it felt like it was phoned in. They didn't
Yes.
really care. They're like, all right, $20 to run around. Okay,
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Let me scream in front of this green screen. Ah, death, destruction.
I agree.
Oh, so, Eddie, all in all, what did you think of San Andreas?
All in all, I really enjoyed the film. I thought it was a fun summer movie. A lot of action. Wasn't unbearably long, but it gave you enough to where you could actually sit down and really watch a movie. And I enjoyed it. I really did. Even with the shaky acting at times, I thought it was a really fun, really good movie.
Right, so out of 5, what do you think you're going to give it?
I'd probably give it a 3 to a 3.25 stars, somewhere in that
Okay.
range. Again, it wasn't amazing when it comes to the acting, but it was a fun movie. I enjoyed it.
Right, I'm going to be coming along right with you. I really had a fun time with San Andreas. A lot more fun than I thought I was going to have. And the action was spectacular. The visuals were off the charts. They were great, as any summer blockbuster should be. You had some really fun performances, even though not all the acting was great. And all the characters were likable.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give San Andreas a 3.3 out of 5 stars. So guys, how'd you like our review? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Make sure to let us know in the comments. And also, make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. Also, you can go and follow us on Twitter at Stubmasters. And if you want to buy some really cool Stubmasters merchandise, which shirts that like we usually wear on the show, but today, fortunately, mine was dirty. Tears, sadness. But you can buy that merchandise on cafepress.com/Stubmasters. Have an excellent day.